Right. Thank you for joining us once again. Today, my very special guest is Deborah, and it's an opportunity for yet another successful carnivore story. Just anecdotes, of course. We don't have any real evidence of any kind over here, just anecdotes. So let's hear another one. Deborah, welcome to the crazy train. This is your first ride, so I better tell you the rules. Keep your arms and legs inside the vehicle throughout the ride. Do not stick your head out the window. Otherwise, tell us your story. Welcome.
Thank you, Bart. I'm so happy to be here. So I'm Deborah. I live in North Carolina, currently in the States. So I am 45 years old.
You are not.
Oh, yes, I am.
Wow. Okay, carry on. Sorry.
Yes. So I was born in the south of France in 70s to two American parents that just happened to live in France, but left there when I was about 4 years old, came back to the States. So I've been here ever since. And I was raised mostly with my mother, Italian, very Italian mother. And then my dad lived in France after they divorced. And so I would spend my summers in Europe. So food was very important in my upbringing. And I was almost like a foodie from a young age. And I loved all different kinds of food. And I don't think this was exactly healthy now, but I did tend to prefer carbs and sugar the older I got. And that became a real problem in my teen years. So around age 13, I started to experience some kind of debilitating health problems. And I didn't really understand what was going on. And nobody in my family had any knowledge of what it truly meant to be healthy or, and everything was blamed on my hormones, or that I was a teenager and I was a girl. And that's why I was so emotional and, uncomfortable in my body and all those things. And I had a lot of social anxiety, which I didn't know until I got diagnosed in my 40s with what's, I guess, a social anxiety disorder. It's called avoidant personality disorder. It's like a social anxiety. So lived with that and just couldn't make eye contact and things like that. But basically, I probably started eating too much to comfort myself from feeling stressed out all the time, and just became a bad cycle. And then I think around age 19, I had like somewhat of a compulsive eating disorder. And I was like working out a lot and stuff and kind of obsessed with that and my body. And that kind of passed quickly, luckily. But then I taught myself how to cook, and I became a really good cook, and I started to throw parties and all this stuff. And so that was like a very big part of my identity. And, that was great and all, but again, I think I had too much attachment to food. And used it for self-soothing. And then it became alcohol as I got older, like, oh, well, this is socially, helping me to be social. And my health really started to decline in my 30s. I had children, and I just started to feel more and more tired, which it was not like your normal tired from having children. It was like really bad fatigue. And I had already been like that since I was like 13, and I would fall asleep everywhere, like in class. And it was like really bad. I couldn't stay awake, but nobody really, I didn't think I just thought that was normal because that was like what I lived with. So I started cutting things out like gluten in my early 30s. And trying to like experiment with food. And when I cut out gluten, that really helped with the fatigue. And I thought, wow, there's something there to this food thing. But then that would stop working kind of. And I would try to like do another kind of diet like paleo. And then the paleo didn't really work. But I always thought, well, diet's got to be it. Like, I just don't feel good when I eat. I just got to figure this out. And it just took so long. Like, I never really looked deeper than like paleo or anything for years. And I just thought, well, that's all I can do is cut out gluten. And then keto, we tried keto in like 2020 or something. And I did notice a big difference with that, but I still had cravings because of those like little bit of carbs, I guess, that you're allowed to have on keto. And the cravings would always just end up in me eating fries or something like once a week. And I just couldn't stick with keto. And I went down into like the bad keto with all the treats and the packages and of food that said keto. And I didn't do my research, and I didn't know. I was totally being like brainwashed into thinking these things were healthy. And around that time, we were going through a really stressful family stress. And so I started to get really, really sick. And I had been diagnosed with a sleep disorder like a year or two before that. And they put me on Provigil, which is like a stimulant to stay awake from, in the middle of the day, like so you don't fall asleep. And that worked. But I also was diagnosed with premenstrual I can't say it, PMDD. And it's like severe PMS. And I was put on Zoloft for that. And since I had depression and anxiety, like all my life, like I had experience with SSRIs, and they're very hard to get off of. And I was really reluctant to go on it, but I was so like debilitated, and I was like trying to take care of my children and everything. And it was like, I had to go on it, and it was awful. So I went on the Zoloft, and I was on about 50 milligrams, and it did help a lot with my PMS, but I did not like being on these medications. And I thought I was kind of angry and disillusioned that I had to be on these medications at my age and probably for the rest of my life is what I thought. And then I was starting to get really weird, like symptoms like inflammation, like throughout my body, where I was in pain and like swollen everywhere. And I didn't understand what it was. And I was asking the doctor, and they didn't seem to know what it was. And they just prescribed like muscle relaxers and stuff. And I was like, there's something wrong. Like, and then that's when I found out about Carnivore. So, I related a lot with Michaela Peterson because of her story, and we had a lot of the same symptoms. And so when I heard that she was just eating meat, I was like, well, I don't have anything to lose. I'm going to try this. And so I tried it, and my husband decided to try it with me, which was very surprising. And I was very sick for like 3 weeks. I was really, really sick and slept a lot and felt nauseous and going to the bathroom constantly. And I didn't know anything at this time about like electrolytes or taking care of that. So I was probably really dehydrated and like losing electrolytes, but I got through it. But it was pretty scary because I have low blood pressure anyway. So I think my blood pressure was like super low. And then, yeah, but I don't know, around 3 weeks, I like just turned like a corner, and it was like insane. Like all the inflammation and the pain that I was having was gone. My digestion was like almost perfect. My mental clarity was like back. My energy was more than I'd ever had. And it was just crazy. Like this was in June of last year. So it's been about 8 months since I started it. It was just crazy. And I was kind of angry for a while because I thought like, well, that was too easy, And I was kind of upset that like it took me so long to find it. But
Yeah.
Yeah. And I got off my Provigil within 2 months, maybe a month, actually. I stopped taking that because I didn't need that anymore to stay awake or to be alert. And so I stopped that. And then I got off my Zoloft about 2 months ago. I slowly weaned off that. So I'm no longer on those medications.
Awesome. So that's a lifetime of income from you that those companies won't be getting. Those fine folks at Big Pharma who absolutely their thing is to manage symptomology but never cure anything, because as soon as they cure you, you're a lost customer.
Right.
I mean, name me one prescription drug that actually cures the condition that the person has prescribed that drug for.
Yeah.
That's not how the model works. Interesting. All right. So I'm going to take a wild guess that you probably lost some weight as well.
I did. I lost 7 pounds. I didn't have a lot of weight to lose.
Sure.
It was mostly like water weight.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, I did. Yeah.
Yeah. Inflammatory process, holding of water, that's one of the first things that flushes away when you get rid of the inflammation. Inflammation can also cause all sorts of neurological issues. Interesting that they call it, they pathologize you. They call it a syndrome or, that kind of stuff, rather than just saying, well, you have chronic systemic inflammation and we need to sort that out.
Right.
What are your thoughts on that?
I totally agree. I mean, I so agree with that. It's like I could feel all of that melting away, all that inflammation, where it just feels like your brain is overloaded with like thoughts that you can't control and negativity. And it's not just physical. It really is like in your brain. And I thought I had autism, I was told, well, I think you have autism. And so I went and got tested. And I didn't. I have avoidant, which can be confused with, high functioning autism. But yeah, I mean, I have 2 sons that have autism, and I haven't been able to get them to change their diet because their dad has custody of them right now, and he doesn't believe that food has anything to do with behavior or functioning. It's insane. Because I know it does. And I'm like proof of that. And I was able to put the youngest one on like a keto diet back in like 2018 and for a few weeks. And I mean, we saw such a huge difference. But like, again, his dad was like not on board. And, when both parents aren't on board because we're not together anymore, then you can't really keep doing it. So, yeah. But yeah, it's like the biggest lie out there that food's not going to affect your mental health. Like it really does. It's crazy.
Yeah. Look, I'm another example. I'm on the spectrum myself with the autism thing, and anyone that's known me for enough years to have known me before I changed my diet to carnivore would tell you that it's night and day in terms of how I actually present, interact with the world. I mean, people that actually know me in the real world, people that don't just see the YouTube thing, because that's a bit of play acting, of course it is.
Yeah.
And I actually do draw on some of the autistic stuff, some of the natural behaviors and reactions and things that I used to be like in real life as part of that character. It's just, but I actually laugh about it now. It's as funny as. So, yep, absolutely. Inflammation can have a massive effect on.
Yeah, it causes anger. It causes anger. It causes meltdowns. It causes rages. Like I lived through that. I mean, I know why people thought I had autism. I thought I had it, because I was like a complete mess. I mean, yeah, I had lots of stressful things going on, but nothing to warrant the reactions I was having. And so the fact that I don't have those reactions, or that I can't even have those reactions now, is like amazing. And it's like, this is so ridiculous that this isn't just common knowledge.
I mean, here you are as well, recording an interview for public consumption that's going to be viewed by thousands of people. Whereas 18 months ago, would that have been anywhere on your radar as anything you would remotely have even considered doing?
No.
Not in a million years, eh? I mean, I was the same before I set my channel up. I was like, could I be a YouTube creator and make videos and put myself out there and be the kind of thick skin that you need to be to live that life?
Right.
And I was like, no way.
No way. Yeah.
We'll be waiting for hell to freeze over before I could possibly do that. So, you can absolutely claim your power by just changing your diet to one that's in line with your ancestral gift, your species, your organ systems, all that kind of stuff that's evolved that way over millions of years that we've just changed in the last few thousand in the wrong way. And so, there's another story. There's more hope for people that you too can have normality, if that's the thing. You can have the best possible life. It is available to you personally if you just come on board with us and get your diet switched across to the right kind of diet. That being said, let's pick up on something you said earlier about what I'm picking up there from you is it sounds like you changed your diet to carnivore overnight. You just went right and going carnivore.
I thought I was going slow, but I don't think I was.
Yeah. Because what happens when you change your diet too quickly from anything to anything different, actually, is you'll get a crash in your energy. You'll get tired you'll get gut dysfunction. You'll get bowel dysfunction. You'll get loose stool. You'll get dehydrated. You'll lose your electrolytes. You can feel like death warmed up. You can feel like this is the worst possible thing in the world. And it's frightening. Have I done the wrong thing? Have I been sucked in?
It was scary.
Did you have any of those thoughts? Did you think during those couple of weeks, maybe I've made a mistake here? Or
I can't explain it. I basically, at the same time that I thought I might die or might end up in the hospital, at the same time, I had total faith that this was going to work. And I don't know. I just got through it, but it was very scary. So I got through it. Awesome. I didn't expect the turnaround to be so amazing. I knew it was going to work and it was going to help me probably, but I didn't know I was going to feel the way I did. So, gosh, it's you just can't keep it to yourself. Yeah. That's why I started my channel. And it's such a catalyst too. I mean, the carnivore diet, it's not just about, you found this diet and then the end. It's such a catalyst for you to understand that you can do hard things and you can give up all these foods that people think are necessary, which is ridiculous. Mm-hmm. If you ever told me I was going to give up coffee, I would tell you that's ridiculous. I could never give up coffee. I was the biggest coffee addict. And then I did, January 1st. And it's wow, and now that was a huge catalyst for me to do the next thing. And it just, it's you really become self-aware and you become passionate about being healthy and, being the best version of yourself. And what can I, do now to be healthier? Now I'm I need to exercise because I have not exercised the whole time I was carnivore. And I really kind of lost a lot of strength, in my core. And so I'm trying to do Pilates again. Awesome. I think, that's going to be good. But, it just kind of leads you down this rabbit hole, learning all about the different aspects of being healthy. It's not just your diet, but yeah. So
awesome. All right. Cool. So the take home there is, yes, absolutely. Go carnivore, go 100% carnivore. You bet, but don't do it overnight. Change your diet slowly over 6 weeks, at least 6 to 8 weeks. I always recommend to people, give your body a chance, give your microbiome a chance to adapt to the changing supply that you're providing them with. It'll prevent a lot of problems, I think, and make the transition ever easier, I think, for most people. So I always recommend that.
That's
that
good.
said, let's talk about your YouTube channel. Tell us about it. What's it called? Where can we find it? What sort of stuff are you doing there?
So it's called The Catholic Carnivore. And I was became Catholic in my 30s. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah. And I was agnostic before that. And I identify more with being Catholic than carnivore. I just think that's more important for me personally, but they're both really important, and they're just both something that I like to share and talk about. And I'm trying to kind of reach out into that other niche on YouTube, which is the Catholic niche, and let people know that carnivore is like a legitimate option if they're having all these health issues. And I'm kind of excited. There's a pretty big Catholic YouTuber. His name is Matt Frad, and his wife has dealt with chronic health issues for a long time, very similar to mine, but probably even worse. And she reached out to me because she's doing carnivore for Lent. And I'm trying to help her through that, like just, encouraging her to stick with it and not go too fast. Because I warned her, you don't want to do what I did. And I think she wants to kind of go all in. And I'm like, but she felt really bad. And I was like, you take it easy. But I'm super excited because if she does get results from it, then it'll definitely be like, she'll talk about it on her podcast, and then Matt will talk about it on his YouTube channel. And that can help a lot of other Catholics to learn about it. But,
Awesome.
Yeah.
And it all helps with visibility. The many different ways that a YouTube promoter can cross-pollinate, appearing on other people's channels and making people aware of your existence is absolutely where it's at, I think. So, The Catholic Carnivore on YouTube is where you want to go. So, Meat Militia soldiers, you have your orders. You know what to do. Head over there straight away. Sub, hit the bell icon so that YouTube will completely fail absolutely to advise you when new material is posted over there, of course, because that's how it is. Well, probably not actually in your case. You won't be shadow banned in the way that I've been for saying naughty things against the Well, yeah, you say anything against the accepted narrative, and Al Gore and his rhythms tend to penalise you in terms of your visibility and all of that. So it shouldn't be a problem for a good Catholic girl, I would imagine. You should be fine in that regard, so long as you don't say anything too subversive like, oh, whoops, only eat meat. Oh, well, never mind. It'll happen at some point. Yeah. So what we can do to help is we can send all the Meat Militia over there to sign up, to subscribe, and to do all the things over there, and to watch all your videos and to comment under them for, again, that Al Gore likes that for the rhythms. Don't forget to hit like, for goodness sake. It's not that hard, and all of that. So how long's the channel been going?
Not long. I think I started it in September. Yeah.
Awesome. And it's growing, it's building, there's some action.
Yes. I try to post once a week, sometimes, I skip a week, but I have a lot of like recipe ideas and stuff like that. And especially helpful things for Catholics who are like, what do we do during Lent? And, I can't eat meat on Friday and stuff. So Awesome. All right.
The other thing, those who are fellow YouTube owners, fellow YouTube creators, you probably want to interview Deborah as well. Get hold of her. I'm sure she'd be amenable to appearing on as many channels as possible. That's how we get the word out there. So pretty much that's what it is. Another successful anecdote, another person who, I don't want to put words in your mouth, but would you say that the change to a carnivore lifestyle has at least improved your life out of sight, if not saved it?
Yes, definitely saved it.
Awesome.
Yes.
There we go. So add that to the bank of I don't know how many million different anecdotes you need before you'll consider that to be some kind of evidence. At least over here, we're disciplined enough to say we know we don't have scientific evidence, unlike that other crowd who are saying they do have it when they don't either. That's for another day, though. All right, you are the guest of honor, Deborah, so you get to close us out with final thoughts. Do you have other social media, by the way? Give us the whole rundown and we'll close out that way.
Yeah, I have Instagram. Same thing, Catholic Carnivore. Yeah, so I love your advice about going slow. That's definitely something I'm going to try to also push more, because that's the hardest part, I think, with getting people to try it, is getting them to do it slowly. And also, I just have a real passion for, like, I think that women and men are different with carnivores sometimes, and like we kind of
now you've shadow banned. Goodness me. What? We can't have that. That's hate speech. Sorry, carry on. Yep.
So, like a woman's meal is not going to look the same as a man's meal. And like my husband and I, we're both carnivore, but it looks totally different. Like I'm going to do more fat. He's going to do more protein. And I'm not saying this is everybody, but definitely experiment with that and see what works for you. Because now I'm finding that higher fat, a little bit less protein works better for my hormones. But yeah, we're all different, and you have to like kind of do a lot of experimenting to find out exactly what works for you. But yeah.
Brilliant. Well, look, it's been an absolute pleasure. And a privilege to host you here on this channel. Always good to have more anecdotes from more people who have had success or otherwise with the carnivore diet, actually. I mean, anyone that hasn't had success is welcome to come and talk to me as well. But we just don't seem to have anyone that really is in that category. Yeah, or if they weren't successful, it's because they did it wrong.
Yeah, that definitely happens. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, there we go. So those of you who are the passive absorbers of the YouTube material, the viewers, go and sub to Deborah's channel. Those of you who are also YouTube promoters, get hold of her. Let's do some interviews. Let's have a round of them. Keep her so busy that she doesn't know what to do with herself, and that'll get all the algorithm buzzing, and that'll get the channel growing, and that's what it's all about. Because at the end of the day, the only tool we've got to get our message out there against the nonsense that's being promulgated is to be so popular, to attract so many people to this community that we cannot be ignored and that we cannot be silenced and shut down. Even if any one of us is censored out of existence, it's like cutting off the head of the Hydra.
That's true. Yeah.
Let's make it so. All right. That being said, enjoy some of the usual Vivaldi in the Four Seasons on the way out the door. Join me next time when probably, more likely than not, someone will be wrong on the interwebs, because it doesn't look like slowing down anytime soon, does it? See you then.
Thank you. Bye.